Hello, everyone. Welcome to Culture with Cara. Joining me here today is my lovely guest. His name is Harvey. How are you doing today, Harvey?
Good car. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. So today's topic is about identity. What is identity? So with that say, as I want to know where were you born and raised, and where you grew up at. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Okay. Well, I was born in San Francisco. At the time, my parents were living in Vallejo, so my parents had a weird thing about us being born in public hospitals. So at the time, the closest hospital was in San Francisco. So when my mom was in labor with me, they drove from Vallejo to San Francisco, and that's how I was born in San Francisco.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's so weird, huh? That she actually don't want to stay in Vallejo because of the public hospital.
Yeah, I don't know. It was my brother was born in a military hospital, and then my sister was born in a private hospital in Vallejo. Because when she was born, they had a private hospital there.
So what is the demographic in Vallejo?
It's Filipinos for sure. Lots of blacks and Latinos. It's mostly minorities. There is a good amount of whites, of course, but they kind of stay in the Benicia American Canyon, which is kind of next to Vallejo, and it's in the nice areas.
So I see. So not as ghetto.
Pretty much. I mean, I grew up in the hood, so that's kind of where I came from.
Okay, so talk to me a little bit of like when did you actually discover and found out your true identity? Like how was the struggle when you found out and like finally come out the closet?
Okay, so you asked me when I knew I was gay.
Yes.
Well, that's kind of a hard thing to answer. It kind of developed over time. The way I can describe it is, when you're young and, like around 12, 13, for a boy, you kind of start being curious and, you when your body develops, you start doing things by yourself. So the way I can say it is that from like 12 to 15, I would imagine like a couple, like a guy and a girl.
Right, right.
Like, having sex. And then, that would kind of turn me on. And then as I understood what being gay was from like, 15 through 18, I kind of more focused on the guy. So that's when I started realizing like, okay, there's something different about me because I don't really care about the girls and I should be into girls.
Right, right.
And that's when probably around, in my teens is when I started questioning, what was going on with me. But I went to college, went to UC Santa Cruz, and I had my first girlfriend at 19.
Oh, so you did actually have a relationship with a girl?
I did. I actually lost my virginity to a girl once, and I guess the last, right? But what I tried to do was I thought that if I had a girlfriend, that would maybe change me and I would be normal and straight again, at that time because I grew up in a big family. Like my mom has 12 siblings.
Oh, wow.
My dad has 8 siblings. So I have a ton of first cousins and everyone's very alpha male.
I see.
And so it was very scary for me to come out during that time because I'm 36. So back then wasn't an easy time to come out compared to now.
Right.
And so what I tried to do was I wanted to change myself because I thought that no one would accept me because I was scared that my family would kind of disown me.
I see. So you would kind of like suppress it a little bit?
I did, and I think a lot of gay people now, when they're in environments where it's not okay for them to be free and who they are, they have to suppress it and they have to hide it. And that's why, when people say that you hide in a closet, it really does feel like that. You're in the dark and no one's around no one's there with you. It's just you by yourself.
I see. So when that happened, when you actually finally came out, how old were you?
So I had a girlfriend for 3 years and, I did love her, but I realized that it wasn't going to go further than that. And so I ended up breaking up with her. And so that was when I was 22.
Oh, okay. So
So
pretty late, later on in
yeah,
life.
so from 22 to 25 was kind of a very hard time for me because I was learning to accept it, and I was trying to figure out if I was actually going to come out or not. And I actually was going through a depression at that time.
I see.
So
Lots of anxiety and stuff probably.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
to talk about at the time probably.
yeah, I mean, it's just no one knew. I mean, I put up this front. A lot of people had no idea that I was gay.
Right, I see.
And-
So who did you go to first to tell? Was it your parents?
Well, I actually got outed by my best friend.
Really?
Yeah, I was living with this guy, and he's my age, and he found out about me because we lived together, and he, was in my room and discovered some things like he saw my porn. So when he found out, he confronted me, and I told him I thought that. So he was the very first person because I had to basically admit to him that I was. And he said that he was gonna be cool with it, but he I guess he didn't really know how to deal with it because eventually he just started spreading it to our mutual friends, and which were some of my cousins.
Oh.
And so at that point, that's when all hell broke loose because in Vallejo it's not very big, and we all know each other.
It's
so
a small community.
yeah, so I came out to them, and then I came out to my sister, and then I came out to my brother, and then at the time my parents were living in the Philippines, so I came out to them over the phone.
Oh, and how they take it?
Well, my sister knew already, so I called them in the Philippines, and I was like, "Hey, Mel, I was like, I'm ready to tell mom and dad," and she was like, "Okay," and I was like, "Okay, put me on speaker because I'm not gonna say this shit twice." So, I gave the whole spiel to my parents, and then finally I was like, "Mom, Dad," I was like, "I'm gay," and then it was just complete silence, for at least I want to say 20 seconds, and it was to the point where I was like, "Mom, Dad, you gonna say nothing? You gonna say anything?" And my dad grabbed the phone. He was like, "Harvey, I don't care. I love you. You're my son.
Oh.
He's like, I just want you to go to church and pray and be safe."
Oh, wow.
So that was kind of his little response to me, and it did mean a lot.
That mean a lot, yes.
But on the other side, my mom, she's crying in the background. So, she had this expectation of me, being with another Filipino girl, having Filipino kids,
Right.
and,
Raise a family.
Exactly. Just like my brother's expectation too, because my brother, he didn't he didn't take it real good either. And, because we were close at that time, and he had this I guess this vision of my kids and his kids would be going camping together, and we'd do things like that. And I said, I was like, well, yeah, I know it's changed in your mind, but I'm still me, and that doesn't mean I can't have that, and we can still have that kind of relationship.
Right.
It's just gonna be different from what you thought.
Right. So I can totally relate to that too because if whoever that listened to this, for those of you who actually listen to this, my husband's name is Hai, and his little brother is also just came out the closet not too long ago, a little over a year ago. And it was hard. It was hard for everyone in the household, and he came out in his 30s. So it's even later than you. So it was a shock. It was a shock for me because I didn't know. So it took him a while to accept it himself, and of course it's gonna take a while for everyone around him to accept him too. So right now he's just having fun. He found his true identity and just pretty much live his life and happy. And that's what I see with you too. I mean, that's brave of you to actually came out and just say, "Hey, that's me."
Yeah, I mean, I really didn't have a choice at the time, but a lot of my friends said that it was a blessing in disguise because, it was messed up on my friend's part to out me, but I think that it was one of the best things that happened to me at the same time.
That's good. That's good to hear. And talk to me a little bit how your parents. Why would they move to Philippines? They used to live here.
Well, my dad, he worked at the post office. My mom had her own salon in Vallejo. It's called.
Is that kind of weird, right? All Filipino either work at the post office or might being
or they're a nurse.
or nurse. So she used to own a hair salon too.
Yeah, it was called Manila Hairstylist.
Oh,
yeah,
cool. So you used to work at the hair salon too, like sweeping up and stuff.
I would sweep
That's what
the
my kids do.
floor, answer the phone, and eat whatever was around all the shop, all the shops that were around. I ate a lot of Little Caesars, what else? Popeyes. I was a little fat kid.
So when they actually moved back here, is it because of they have to go through the treatments
Yeah, well,
and stuff?
okay,
Or?
so the thing is, my dad always had this dream to retire and move back to the PI.
Okay.
And, because my dad, he came here, thinking he was going to, just make some money, save up, and then come back.
Right.
So when my sister was, when she graduated from 8th grade, so that was around when she was like 13, and I'm 9 years older than her, so I was like 22 years old. And that was right after I graduated from college too. And they were waiting for me to graduate so they can just sell the house in Vallejo and then build a new one in the Philippines, which they did. So at that time, that's when my sister had to move with them, which was really hard for us because me and my sister were really close.
Mm.
And by the way, my sister is also gay too.
Oh, that's cool. And she came out and
Well, she came out when she was 17, so of like 3 or 4 years later after they moved there.
I see.
She came out to me. She just told me she was curious, and I was like, well, what do you mean by curious? And she was like, well, I'm curious about girls. And I said, well, answer me this. And she said, I go, what was the furthest you went with a boy? She said, I kissed a boy. I was like, what's the furthest you gone with a girl? She said, all the way. I was like, yes, you're a lesbian.
Then you are. Exactly.
Yeah.
You experience it. And, for us, it's like, it's really tough when my brother-in-law came out and say, hey, I'm gay. This is me. I feel like Hai took it pretty hard, too, because just like your brother, he just wanted to be like a normal family, just like my mother-in-law. She took it hard, too. Yeah. Everyone just expecting different way, different thing. But Hai kind of knew all along because he pretty much raised his little brother because his mom worked 2 jobs, single mom, no dads around. So it's even harder to tell my kids because he got married, my husband's brother. And then he got divorced because he came out. So now we used to see his ex-wife all the time because I've known her for 10 years. That's how long I've been married to Hai, So when that happened, like Christmas, we don't see his wife no more, his ex-wife now. And then the kids would be asking, where is Auntie? Where is she? And so we have to tell my oldest son, like, hey, so this is your uncle. And it's not, he's gay, so everything's fine, it's okay, like being gay, it's okay for another man to love another. We have to like explain to my oldest son. That was hard. That was kind of like, okay, is it time to tell him? Well, he's 10 years old. He understands, he know what's going on. Plus, like, they portray a lot of stuff on TV nowadays. Like movie, like Beauty and the Beast. You saw that, right? Mm-hmm. So it seems like now it's okay. It's easier for people to come out. That's how I feel like. Was this, back then, maybe 15, 20 years ago, maybe a little bit harder for people to come out, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, social media has changed everything. Yeah. So, there's a lot of things more just put out there, whether it's, coming out, being gay, or, war, terrorists, all those things, like, it just shows up more. And I think that's why, since there's so much more exposure to kids, especially to younger kids, mm-hmm. They see, they're used to it, so they see it. And back then, we barely had cell phones. We had pagers. I was, doing pager codes with my friends. I don't know if you know what that is.
I don't know what it is. I don't know.
For you guys that know what it is, you know what I'm talking about, right?
What is it?
So you basically have combinations of numbers to make them look like letters. So like like
Explain.
8, the number 8
Okay.
could be A. Or H.
Okay.
So like if you want to say like hello, it would be 4, which is H upside down.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
And then 3 is E.
Okay.
And then 1 is L, and then 0 is O.
Oh,
so
that's
cool. So you'd have 4-3-LLO, which is hello. So
Huh. So that's how you read the code.
That's how you read. So there's like a max number of per pager, I guess, text. And so, you would just keep on sending someone pages. So, like, you would have, like, sometimes you'd have, like, 10 pages in a row and you're trying to explain something to someone.
And you have to break that code.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh.
I forget
Thank
how
goodness we have text message and phone now.
I
It's
forget
so
how
much
young
easier.
you are, Makari.
I would totally know that. And probably Tint, the producer, probably know that too, the code. Man, you guys are in your 30s, heading towards 40s.
Oh man,
Oh
don't
my
remind me.
goodness. Okay, well, for me, I feel like during the transition for me, between that childhood and adulthood, it's hard for me, especially moving from Cambodia to here. I moved here when I was 14. So I was confused. I feel like I look and feel different than other people. I start comparing myself to other people, but I didn't have that problem. I know I'm a woman. I love it.
Yeah. Well, to go back to about your brother, your brother-in-law.
Yeah.
You know, when I was with my girlfriend, I was thinking about those things, like, because we were in love and we could have gone to the next step. We could have either had kids or got married, whatever.
Right.
And I didn't want to be one of those gay people that did went that far and then broke up a marriage, broke up a family, and then like lived that life. I'd rather deal with the hurt, which was to break up with her and move on so that she can have her own life
Right.
and not suffer more than apparently she did, because I actually had a friend who ran into her and she was not happy hearing the news about me coming out, because it came at that time. It was MySpace, so everyone was friends with MySpace.
Yes,
and
it's
you-
like it's
and-
kind of like the Facebook and Instagram
yeah, you know
now,
how you
pretty
change
much.
your status, and so I had put like curious or questionable or something like that, and then it just freaked everyone out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Oh, did you hear about Harvey?" And all those kinds of things, and it's all part of coming out, because you not only are you gonna deal with your family and your close friends, you're gonna deal with other people who know you, and whether they agree with it or not. I mean, that's the thing that I learned, was that I don't care what these people think anymore. It's about me and my happiness, and
Correct.
and that's what changed my whole world, because I was always kind of awkward. I always had the chip in my shoulder, and I didn't know who I was. I really didn't know how to talk to people most of the time. I didn't feel confident or comfortable in my own skin.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I came out and everyone knew, everyone finally saw who I was, and I think that's the most important thing. What I can tell people, kids, or whoever are in the situation where they don't feel comfortable, or that they're scared that they can be who they are, because once you get over that, it's always gonna be a positive thing.
Right. I feel like when people scared to come out, it just they feel like they're hurting somebody, and those people that took it the hardest, I feel like because they love you and they care for you so much, and they just like how could that be? And they hold on to it. That's why it affects them so much. With Hai, it's the same thing. With Hai's little brother, I mean, his ex-wife, she took it really hard. It's very hurt for her, and the whole family was shocked. But it's funny story. Last Christmas, we went to Hai's aunt's house, and his little brother came along, and we went to Hai's aunt's house all together, and all the families there gathering, eating during Christmas. And Steven's dad, as you know, he works here too. So his dad pretty much just say, "Hey, Bao," which is, by the way, Bao is my husband's little brother, and just say, "Bao, where's your wife? How come you come here by yourself?" And then he pretty much answered. Bao said, "We're not together anymore. We're divorced." And Steven's dad pretty much said, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Is everything okay? I'm so sorry to hear that." And then Bao said, "Oh, it's all good. Everything's fine. It's because I'm gay." And Steven's dad straight up just laughed. "Oh, shut up. Whatever. Just shut up." And he's like, "No, for real. I'm gay." And that's when like silent, like awkward, silent. Everyone just like paused, like, "Oh shit. Oh, I'm so sorry." Okay, so moving along. So as we all know, not all life experiences are positive. There's going to be some negative one, and how can you overcome the negative influences in your life?
Well, you mean coming out after, like, this is after I came out? Can you tell me the question over again? I didn't catch it all.
Yes, like pretty much like after you came out, like how do you like overcome that negative influences, like people around you that have negative thoughts? How can you overcome that?
Well, I can go with the story. So right after it came out, one of my good friends, her name's Tammy, she was always about, her gay friends, and I worked with her at State Farm back then, and she would, I was still with my ex at the time, so when she would talk about all her gay friends and going out and stuff, that I kind of like I kind of distanced myself because I didn't want her to think that I could be gay, because when you're hiding in the closet, you do want to give no kind of clues or any kind of just have anyone have any idea about it, about you. And so when I came out and I told her, she took me out to the Castro for the first time in San Francisco, and that was a crazy experience for me because I'm from Vallejo, so I was wearing like baggy pants, baggy clothes.
Plus, it's the time too. At the time, right?
Yeah,
Everyone wear that. That's the 90s, correct?
Yeah, that was no, that was 2000s. How old do you think I really am? No, because
Maybe early
I came out in 2005.
Okay.
So that was 2005, 2006.
I remember how you used to dress like that too, with like baggy pants, baggy like jersey and stuff.
Yeah, in Vallejo, that was kind of how guys dressed there, and so I walked up in the club like looking all thugged out, and just from Vallejo, and I remember leaving the cash show kind of disappointed because I didn't get any attention. And it was because my friend was telling me, she's like, well, the way people are in San Francisco, in the gay scene is like, they want guys who are like, working out or fit, dress tighter clothes and things like that. So I thought that I had to change myself to be part of this gay culture now. It was all new to me.
Yes.
And so I started going to the gym, and I started dressing a little
Woohoo.
different. But at the same time, I was getting negative feedback from the people around me because they weren't used to that. They're
Right.
like, who are you? Like,
Yeah, they're not accepting that yet.
Yeah,
And then you start changing your clothes, your look. Like, what the heck? It's
Yeah.
already enough to just to take in that you say you come out of the closet, you're gay, and now what the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah, with my brother, he was always questioning like what the hell are you wearing, like things like that, and it kind of hurt a little bit to hear those things, but at the same time I was like, what, I'm gonna be me and I'm gonna do what I need to do to become the person that I can be now, and especially that I came out. And so to make a long story short, I went through a lot of different phases. I felt like I was going through high school again, to be honest. And what it really came down to was that I shouldn't have changed myself for anything at all. Like I should be me to my core, which I've always been. And I feel like that's the thing that people love about me, like who stuck with me after I came out, that Harvey was Harvey.
Be confident.
Be confident, be you, and become the person you are. But when I realized that, I don't need to change myself for anyone, regardless if they're gay or straight.
Right.
It was always just about me and being comfortable in my own skin. And so I dressed a little, I wore a little bit tighter clothes. I didn't wear like super tight clothes, but I still wanted the essence of me, of who I was, of who I, who I become, because I grew up in Vallejo and around the people that I was with. So, it's just a balance there of my style and who I've become.
That's the thing, when people are so negative, they pretty much is just, they have negative life too. I feel like be confident and believe in yourself. That would help a lot, and just pretty much, maybe inspired them to set a goal. I feel like people that are negative, they usually just complain, they judging, they're jealous. If you can set a goal somewhere that, hey, this is what the goal is, and then maybe encourage people that are negative to actually see the goal, and they might be happy too and stop being so negative about it. That's what I feel like. So yeah, definitely be confident. That would be a good one. Just live your life, be happy. And I'm so glad that you actually, talk about this and feel like leave this behind you.
Yeah, I mean that's all you can do, really. A lot of people who dwell on the past and the things that have kind of accumulated to hold on to those things and make them, I guess, just be negative. I don't I do have demons. Like I think everyone has demons
We all
inside.
do have demons,
Yeah,
yes.
and I do. There are days where I feel super negative, and I know that some people don't want to be around me, and that's okay because people are people, and that's what happens. But I feel like the ones who hold on to it and can't let go are the ones who are always gonna be stuck in that same place. And I choose not. I chose a long time ago not to do that anymore. So as much as there are negative things that happen in my life, I'll still do my best to be positive.
That's good. Yeah, be positive. Oh wow, that's a good one. Be confident. Be positive. Those
Be
are some good.
intelligent because
Be
it's always
intelligent.
beautiful.
Yes, there you go. There you go. So talk to me about the last 2 years. I know, especially last year was really rough. Very, you're going through a lot of like difficult time last year. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, before I get into that, I just want to say that I'm wearing this shirt. This was a shirt made for my mother. She passed away last November. Rest in heaven, Mom. Love you. But yeah, I have gone through a rough couple years because in 2015, we found out that my dad had pancreatic cancer, and unfortunately, when he got diagnosed, he was already in the late stages. It was basically terminal.
I see.
It had spread to his bone, to his lymph nodes, and his lungs.
Wow.
So we found out in October, and he had passed away in February of 2016. So during that time, it was really rough, taking care of someone, because my sister and I, we both took a leave of absence from our jobs to take care of my dad because my mom couldn't do it by herself. And my brother, he has a family. So,
Right.
So, because I have work that's flexible, I was able to do it. And my sister, she's in LA. She was able to come down too. And, we all took shifts. I mean, my dad was in pain all the time.
Wow.
So it was really hard to go through that, and it was probably one of the worst and hardest times I ever had to go through in life. But when he passed away, we were very sad, but relieved that he didn't have to be going through that pain anymore.
I see.
So the thing about my parents is they've been together for over 40 years,
Wow.
and they're one of the last of the couples in our family that stayed together that long.
Right.
Because my parents were really in love. They were inseparable. And I know that when my mom lost my dad, my mom was heartbroken. She was depressed, and we did our best to to help her out to get through what she needed to. And I actually moved from San Jose to Vallejo so that I could be closer to her. And in 9 months after my dad passed away, my mom passed away too.
What happened to her?
She had a brain aneurysm, and
Wow.
it was sudden, and we had no idea because we thought my mom was moving on. She was gonna travel more. We were gonna go on a
Right.
cruise. We had all these plans to help my mom and to help her move on. And when I got the call, I was in San Jose actually when I got the call from my mom and said that to come back to Vallejo because it's really serious. I was shocked, and I wasn't prepared for that because none of us thought that, especially going through what went through with my dad, that we'd go through something so soon with my mom. And literally like 2 days after I got that phone call, she passed away.
Oh my gosh.
So everyone asked me, how did your mom pass? And I told her, I tell them that I think she died from a broken heart.
Yeah, because it's so sudden,
Well,
and it's literally just 9-month periods as well.
I've been told that a lot of couples, that happens actually
Wow.
not, often that, if one passes not too far after, then the next one does.
Wow. I remember seeing you, like you were just telling me the story of your dad, and then literally I see you again. You're like, my mom just passed away. I'm like, what, in 1 year?
The same year.
That was tough, difficult time. I mean, do you have any advice for those people actually listening to this right now? Like what you're going through, any advice to hold up? Because you still have a smile on your face every time I see you, every couple weeks. By the way, Harvey is my regular client. I've been cutting his hair every 3 weeks. Look at his hair. And he's always joking around, he's always smiling, he's always laughing, always so positive. And so I want you to just tell me, like, what do you do to just keep a smile on and just stay positive?
Oh gosh, there's a lot of things that I was doing for my. I mean, honestly, I am seeing a therapist, so that I mean, people who are embarrassed to admit that, I don't think they should be. Um, they've helped me get through a lot of the things that I've been going through the past couple of years. It's just having someone who, you can have your best friend and talk to them, because that could be your therapist, right?
Yes.
But when you have a professional who you can just talk to and they can give you different perspective and insight of what your friends
Mm-hmm.
and your family, what they can offer, it's very helpful. And so I would think that for someone to go through, especially like my brother and my sister who are going through the same thing, I think that it's really good to have some kind of, help professionally. But for myself, I I think it was just to get over the sadness. It takes time, but
Mm-hmm.
I had to make myself feel better about myself again. And going through what I went through with my dad, like I gained weight. I was going through depression. Like I was, because our schedules were so crazy, just on
Right.
the clock taking care of him. That when the dust settled with my mom, and I was thinking about like how am I gonna get through this again. It's just physically to make myself feel better. Exercising and things like that, it just naturally makes me feel better. So one is just trying to get fit and keeping
Mm.
keeping yourself busy that way.
Be productive.
Yeah, be productive. Keeping find some things that are positive to fill in those that empty space and negativity that's consuming you when you're going through things like that,
I
and
see.
surrounding yourself with your loved ones. That's always a big thing too.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea that you actually go see a therapist and then talk about, let your feeling just come out and talk about stuff. I think that's a good one because even me and Hai, we went through stuff the last few years. We actually went to see a therapist as well. I mean, being married is tough.
Hmm.
So it's good to talk to someone and hear from their perspective, from professional perspective.
Yeah.
So what is the most meaningful and challenging experiences in your life that you went through?
Well, I mean, I did just mention what I went through with my parents, and it's meaningful in the sense that I know that my parents wouldn't want me to just hide in a corner again and just let life take control of me. You know,
Gotcha.
I think they're happy seeing me doing things like this with you. Putting my voice out there and expressing.
Oh, she's probably watching over from heaven right now, and dad too.
And it was just her birthday too, so we went to
Oh,
visit them.
happy
It was
birthday,
really,
mom.
she would have been 65.
Oh, wow.
So she was really young.
Yeah.
Um, so that's meaningful for me because I know that they're happy leaving, because I know they didn't want to leave us, but they did, and leaving us behind was probably something that if they're in heaven thinking about, they're worried about us.
Right.
And at least I can show them that I'm okay.
That's good. That's good. What about challenging? That's just any challenging experience.
Uh, Being in a relationship. You know, that's one thing is like, I've been in about 4 major relationships since I came out. That's about 10 years now. And it's not what I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to meet some guy and, we were going to like be happy together and we were going to get married and things like that. But, just things don't work out as most people don't usually plan in life, right? And what I've taken out of it is that I'm okay being single. Like I think a lot of people are scared to be, like, oh, I'm not gonna find someone, this and that. And that's something that I've had, fear growing up. But as I get older and understanding that relationships are really hard, and that they're not always perfect, like
Yeah.
yourself.
That's I can totally relate to that.
Yeah, I think that I'm okay if I don't end up being with someone the rest of my life. And I think that's a hard concept for most people to grasp. But I'm not saying it's not going to happen for me. I'm saying that I'm okay being by myself. And I think people should be that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so for me, I feel like love definitely is the most meaningful for me in life. You just gotta know how to forgive, accept who they are, and the most challenging for me, I would say, just being married and being a parent. Luckily, I got High by my side. I can't imagine myself raising 2 kids, 2 boys, on my own. My mother-in-law, she did raise two sons on her own, working two jobs. That was really tough. She struggled the whole time, you know. So there's no way I can raise two boys and teach them how to be a man. So thank goodness, you know, Hi's by my side. He's teach them how to be a man. There's no way I can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't, but I can't teach them how to be a man, you know. So that's the most challenging for me, just being a parent and being married, and we constantly have to work on it all the time. You gotta sacrifice,
Yeah.
put in a lot of time there. So have you ever, you know, realized doing something and pretty much just said, "Oh shit, oh man, what have I done?" Have you ever have those moments?
Every day. You know, you did ask me this earlier, and I was thinking about it, and I think probably the funniest one and kind of the most embarrassing one was when I first came out, and I had to do training for State Farm, and that's when I was working with them, and they sent us all the way to freaking Bloomington, Illinois. You ever heard of that place?
No.
It is in the middle of
Illinois.
nowhere. It was a culture shock for me for sure.
Was it just a lot of white?
Mostly white people. Like, so, you know, there was four of us that came. There was another Filipino girl. There was this 6'4", half black, half Latino guy, and then this white girl. So, you know, us walking around in Bloomington, Illinois. Imagine how many heads we had turned. You know. So we went to the mall, and there was this really cute guy working, and he looked gay to me. Like, he had, you know, the clothes. Like, he looked just made up. He looked pretty. You know. And I was talking to my friend. I was like, you know, should I go up to him? You know, I was like, but she was kind of daring me. She's like, why don't you just go check it out? You know.
But how? Okay, when you gay, how can you identify another gay guy? Like, is your gaydar on?
See,
Gaydar.
well, that's what people call it, right? Gaydar. I don't think there's such a thing. You know, I think what we do is we find similarities.
Okay.
We find clues. You know,
Like a certain way how they sit and stuff?
The mannerisms, the way they talk, the way they dress. You know.
The way they sit. If they cross their leg, it would not be. I don't know.
No. It's hard to explain, but it's just something that you might sense. And you know, I just came out, so I didn't know shit. Like, I was still a baby, you know, in train, you know. But
Now you're like an expert now.
I'm still single, shit.
So yeah, did you go up to him?
I did, and I said, you know, hey, I was like, you know, I hope this doesn't offend you, but you know, I just, you know, was interested in maybe like I can get your phone number. And he looks at me and he looks at my friend and he goes, I'm sorry, but I'm not gay. And I was like, I go, please take that as a compliment. He goes, you look good. And we booked it out of that freaking store so fast.
Well, for me, it's funny. It happened like a few months ago, and this guy, he's like our regular customer, comes in our shop all the time. This time, he came in with his wife. So, by the way, he's you know, Caucasian guy. His wife is Filipino. So, little petite, little Filipino lady. They bring his son together, and I compliment her on her son. I'm like, oh, he's so cute, so adorable, you know. And by the way, are you having a girl? And then she looked at me and like her head down. She's like, no, I'm just fat. And I looked at her and I looked down like so fast. And then Jasmine, my assistant in the front desk, she looked at me. She's like her mouth was so open, so big. Like, what have you done? And I looked at her. I just walked so fast to the front desk and sit my ass down and like hide my face like this, you know, like just hiding it like in the desk. I'm like, what have I done? I just put my foot in my mouth. Oh.
Did they ever come back for a haircut?
Yeah, they still come back. They still come back. But you know how Filipino lady or like Asian people like was so tiny, like for girls. So when you see like a little bum, you just think, oh, I just assume she's
that's why you
pregnant.
have to ask them first.
Or maybe you shouldn't ask when it comes down to those stuff, like if you're pregnant or not. But yeah, that was so embarrassed, and it was just like, ooh, what have I done? So anyway, we're gonna wrap this up.
Okay.
I want to say this: as long as we stay the course, we'll be able to, see the truth, and we're gonna be able to learn more lesson in our life that waiting ahead of us. For those of you who listen to this, I wish you luck, and just keep the faith. Hope this would help you identify your true identity that you're struggling with. If you have any question, any feedback, please just give us a feedback on YouTube there. Go to Culture with Cara. Thank you for listening. And you can reach out to me at my Instagram is Makaravu and Harvey.
My Instagram is har2v2, HAR number 2 V and 2 again.
Yeah, feel free to reach out to us and leave some comment. We need some of your feedback.